The San Jose State Weekly Football Press Conference. Today is Monday, October 9th. San Jose State is on the road this week to take on Hawaii. This Saturday, October 14th, kickoff at 6 o'clock Hawaiian time. That's 9 o'clock Pacific time. Our coverage on 1590 AM KLIV and the Spartan Radio Network will begin at 8:30 Pacific time. I would like to remind viewers that it is a bye next week, but we will have a press conference during the bye week as well. Let's welcome in San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan.
Hello. Thanks for being here. Obviously, tough game on Saturday for us against Fresno. They came in here and executed a good game plan. Coach Tedford and that staff had their team ready. Disappointing for us to lose the Valley Trophy. That's obviously a really big thing to us and to our school and to our fan base and to our players. And so that was disappointing. I felt like we had some chances to get back in it in the second half, but with some penalties and some ball security or ball protection issues, we couldn't get it done. So we are back to the drawing board and trying to get our team ready to play a good Hawaii team on the road, which is presents unique challenges. Just having played there and coached in games there many, many times, I know what kind of atmosphere it is. I know how fired up their fans and their players will be because they're back home after, I think, a couple road games. And I also know how well coached they are. I've known Nick Rolovich for a long time. We're very good friends. And so I know he will have his team ready.
Coach, last week you said you'd like to see a home environment that makes it tough on the opponent. Knowing the result of Saturday, do you feel like that was accomplished by the fans, obviously homecoming?
I thought the crowd was great on Saturday, and I think there's been other moments this season where they've been really good too. One of the challenges of getting people into the stands is that you got to play good football, and we have not done a lot of that this year. We were working hard at it every second of every day and night at times, but we haven't done that yet. And so we want to, when we play, we got to put something out that the people are excited about watching. And so we're hard at work trying to do that. But I thought the crowd for homecoming, the pregame, the tailgates, I went for a jog a couple hours, probably 4 or 5 hours before the game, and the parking lots were packed, and people were having a good time, and I was fired up. I'm like, wow, we got a real game day here today. It's going to be exciting. And I thought the crowd did a great job. And I think if we could have avoided some penalties in the first half and made it a little closer, we could have, given them a little more to cheer about.
Frank Yenda shined in the tackling department by taking down 9 Fresno State players. He obviously wants to get a win, but there needs to be others with the same desire as him. Who do you think should have a similar mindset?
Well, I hope that everyone has a similar mindset as Frank, not just defensive players, but Frank is a special guy. He is a really tough player. He plays hard every snap. He takes it very seriously. I think I mentioned that in my comments after the game. We're really fortunate that he's here, and he continues to lead, as mostly by example with his effort and his performance on game day.
Coach, we're going to go to the phone now. Stephen Tsai from the Honolulu Star-Advertiser. Stephen, one question for Coach.
Hey, Coach. I think you've been on both sides of the rivalry. What have you learned, and how will you prepare for this trip?
I think the challenge of coming to Hawaii has to deal with more of knowing, getting your players in the right frame of mind for it. I think the whole world, when they travel to Hawaii, thinks they're on vacation mode. And so that's a challenge with your team, making sure that we're focused and locked in and understand that this is not a vacation, this is a business trip for us.
Coach, towards the end of the Fresno State game, Josh Love seemed to just take hit after hit with about 5 minutes left all the way that last drive. What does that do for a team to see him just pop back up and act as if nothing happened? In his post-game comments, he even said that he felt fine and looked no worse for the wear. Is that something that can be taken as a positive when you have a quarterback who just keeps getting back up, vicious hit after vicious hit?
I think absolutely. I think that's what the great quarterbacks do. they take some shots and they keep on playing. To me, it's the one way or the best way that your quarterback has an opportunity to demonstrate their toughness. We're always talking to everybody else on the team about demonstrating theirs, but for the quarterback, that's getting up after taking a huge shot. And Josh did a great job of that in the fourth quarter last week.
Coach, you guys are in the beginning of a 27-day kind of gap between home games.
I didn't know that.
Do you see like any way like the team could possibly grow from not playing here? I don't know.
You know, I would say I don't think so. You know, I think, you know, your chances to grow the most are when you play, because that's when everything, the tempo, the environment, the experience is real. And you're always trying to do, you know, kind of create that in your practice environment, but it's hard to simulate. So, you know, I think the best thing that can come out of the next 27 days, you know, outside of getting to play a couple of really big games, is I think that bye week will be important to us to recharge the batteries, get going in recruiting, get out on the road and see some kids, and, you know, continue to look to growing our program, and then also get some guys healthy.
The fourth down is a down that has affected the team all season. How can the defense work on stopping their opponent?
Well, I think, you know, stopping people on fourth down or converting on fourth down is all about a mentality. And I think, you know, those are those moments in the game where everybody's focus, their effort, their intensity has to be right on the edge. And I think, you know, we need to try and create some of that best we can in practice, so that we understand in those moments, in those critical situations, is when we need everybody at their absolute best, so that we can finish it, either get the defense off the field or continue a drive with our offense.
Coach, we're going to go back to the phone now. Steven Tsai again. Steven, one more question for Coach.
Sure. How did your friendship with Rolovich originate, and when did you guys, when did your family start spending vacations together?
You know, when Nick first started coaching at Hawaii, I was still an assistant at San Jose State, and we bumped into each other on the road. He had been a part of coaching my cousin Colt at Hawaii, so that was kind of an easy segue. So we just started talking, and then as you know, fate would have it, he ended up at Nevada, and my parents lived in Reno at the time. So my dad was really sick; he was battling cancer, and so Nick would stop in and check on my dad. That was just kind of the type of guy he was. And when Dad was going downhill, I was there a lot. I was in Reno a lot, you know, being there for the family and whatnot. And Nick would always come over, and sometimes we'd hang out and talk football. Sometimes we'd just hang out and talk with my dad. It was pretty cool, and that's kind of how the friendship started. Since then, it's been, you know, summertime at Donner Lake for some football, jumping off the dock, playing catch, and it's a great friendship. I've always had a really high level of respect for him and his kind of offensive mind and him as a football coach. And as he was going through his early stages as a head coach at Hawaii, and then me going through it now, we actually talk quite frequently. So he's as good of a friend as I have in coaching, which I'm sure will make this game 10 times as intense for the both of us.
Coach,
Did
kind of.
you give much advice on being what to do as a head coach, or what kind of advice did you give you?
You know, I think we just talked more. You know, we talked a lot about when I was putting the staff together. We talked about, you know, just kind of, you know, I do think coaching is one of the cool professions where you actually share information. It's not like, you know, Apple and Samsung don't want each other to know their secrets. You know, football, there's a lot more sharing that goes on. And so, you know, we're all trying to get better at what we do, and so you talk to people who you think are good at it, and I think Nick's really good at it, so he's a guy that I have a relationship with, and we talk about practice schedules, how we're organizing practice, what we're trying to get out of this, how we practice, you know, hey, how are you practicing third down in spring ball? How are you practicing open field tackling in fall camp? So just anytime, and I do that with a lot of coaches. I do it with Gary Anderson, I've done it with Mike Riley, I've done it with Dick Tomey. You know, but I do it a lot with Nick Rolovich.
Coach, kind of staying with Hawaii here. Obviously, you guys visit the island and rush first offense. Got, I think, the nation's third leading rusher in Diosmy St. Just. What goes through your mind as a head coach to kind of the team's having a tough time stopping the run, and you have to face him. What kind of goes through your mind?
Well, I think it's a tremendous challenge for our team. Anytime you get to go against somebody, winning football games, big part of it is your ability to run the football and your ability to stop the run. And so obviously their running back is a great player. He's a downhill guy. He's got a good combination of speed and power. And so it's a great challenge for our defensive front and our safeties to try and slow him down. I know the staff was here early yesterday morning and late last night, trying to come up with the best way to hopefully try and slow him down.
Aside from Tyler Nevins, what other players do you hope become bright spots on the team's offense?
Well, I'm hopeful that one of the quarterbacks will, whether that's Bailey or Montel or whoever, Michael, Sam. I just think that's a position that's so important, and I would love to see one of those guys really take control of that position and push us forward. But I think Bailey Gaither is a guy who's been really productive this season, and I'd like to see him and Josh Oliver continue to move in a good direction and make some plays for us. I thought Trey Walker had a great game 2 weeks ago at UNLV. He's a true freshman, so there's definitely a combination of a lot of young people on the field for us right now. Jaquan Blackwell's been good. He's a redshirt freshman. So I think there are some bright spots, but obviously when you're not winning football games, there aren't enough.
In the second half against Fresno State, started to move the ball a little bit. You faced a Hawaii team this week who's 116th in the country in total defense, 475 yards a game. What do you do as an offense, looking at that, at least on paper, a favorable matchup? How do you use that to your advantage?
I think for us, we're just looking for more of how they defend things, and where they fall statistically. We don't really look at that, right? We're just looking at, how do we put our best players in a position to make plays with the ball in their hands, how to create a advantage numbers-wise running or throwing the football, and how do we give our players something that they can execute at a high level. So whether we're playing the Green Bay Packers or whether we're playing, San Mateo High School, we're really looking at what we want to be able to run against the defenses they're presenting.
Coach McMarion, Myers, Huntley, and Flowers, those are just some of the dual-threat quarterbacks you've already faced this season. This week it's Drew Brown, obviously another mobile quarterback. Anything different going into practice this week, trying to prepare for yet another multi-dimensional QB?
Well, Drew Brown's a great story, right? He's a local kid, Bay Area kid. It's really cool. His emergence last year as a good player for them, leading them to a bowl game. My hope is that with our experience of playing all these dual threat guys, that at least gives us an understanding of what it takes to corral some of those people. Dual threat is kind of a broad term, but they all kind of do things, some of them different. Some guys are a little bit better runner, some guys a little bit better thrower. Marcus McMarion, he's much more of a passer than he is a runner, but you saw his legs help him escape a couple times the other night to stretch out plays and to give them a chance to keep playing. So my hope is that our experience against the dual threat guys that we have faced will give us a chance to play good defense against Drew.
Once again, back to the phones, Coach. Steven, one more question for Coach.
Sure. Hawaii seems to run a lot of different schemes and formations. How do you prepare for that in your practices? And have you been preparing for them beyond just this week? Were you looking ahead to Hawaii earlier in practices just because of all the different things they do?
Well, Nick and his staff, they've always been creative offensively. In terms of preparation, we are not far enough along as a football program, in my opinion, to be able to look 2-3 weeks out and start the preparation. We live in a one week vacuum, and all we focus on is whoever we're playing that week. So right now it's Hawaii. I think the multiple formations, schemes, motions, any of that stuff, that makes maybe the job pretty challenging for our graduate assistants because they have to draw all the cards to get us ready for practice. But it's it's fun to watch Nick's stuff. I've always enjoyed it. He has a unique background when you combine his, his time with June, his time with Chris Alt. He always has a really interesting blend of stuff he wants to do to attack defenses.
Coach, do you have an update on Montel Aaron?
Right now, I don't. He ran around practice a little bit today, so I guess that would be an update. But I don't know what his status is for Saturday. We're going to see how it goes this week.
Coach, San Jose State and Hawaii are the only two teams left in the Mountain West without a conference win. How much more importance does that add to this game, trying to escape last place?
I don't think you ever think of, or we don't ever think of anything in terms of trying to escape last place. To me, this is the most important game of the year because it's the only game we get to play this week. And so that's how we're going about it with our preparation. It's a road game against a tough opponent. They were a bowl team a year ago. They've played good football this fall. And so, I know I'm sure they're bent out of shape about the loss at Nevada last week. And so they're going to be breathing fire. And so we better have our big boy pants on and be ready for a real fight.
Coach, back to Stephen Tsai once more. Stephen, another question for Coach?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what part of your time in Hawaii helped shape you as a coach?
That's a good question. I think really just the challenge of kind of being there in such a beautiful place and trying to keep your team and your kids focused. I think that was, an interesting time with the team there. Obviously, Nick has done a better job of that than we did when I was a graduate assistant there. But that was my first college coaching job when I was a GA there. I was coaching the receivers. I had a really good group of kids. Wesley Morris and Dwight Carter. Ashley Lilly was a freshman. He was skinny as a stick, so we had to redshirt him. But it was fun days because I was just starting on my path in this coaching profession, and just really enjoyed my time with the people I was working with there.
It's kind of an offbeat question, but I think through 7 games, you guys have worn 4 different jersey combinations. Is that? I mean, do you have what are your thoughts? Is that like equipment room, or do you have any opinion on the jerseys so far this year?
Oh, I just want our kids to like what we're wearing. With our new contract with Adidas, we're fired up about being, living the 3-stripe life, and so we let our players choose what we wear. So I meet with the leadership council every week, and we talk about what they want to wear for the game. And so far, I think they've looked great. I'm hoping that translates into them playing great at some point here soon. Thank you.
All right, that's it for this week's press conference. Once again, San Jose State on the road at Hawaii this Saturday, October 14th. Kickoff from Aloha Stadium, 6 o'clock Hawaiian time. That's 9 o'clock Pacific time. Our coverage on 1590 AM KLIV and the Spartan Radio Network at 8:30 Pacific time. And again, next week, the bye for San Jose State, but we will have a press conference here, so you can tune in then. That does it for this week, though. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.